Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, FP Santangelo Jr. and Russell Jackman. Not sure if Vern is going to join us today. If he does, that'll be awesome. Okay, at each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. And now that we're getting into baseball season, hard baseball questions.
Oh,
right?
No.
Yeah, I hear grumbling from Russ, and FP is going, let's just see how hard these are. All right. When we come back, we got a few things to talk about, the NBA All-Star Game and the dunk contest. Who is Mac McClung? McClung? Is that how you pronounce his last name?
McClung.
McClung. I like that. Hey, it's a good Irish name, McClung.
Sounds like a Don Martin sound effect.
Don Martin sound effect. Okay. Let's see. We've got a couple of interesting rules, little different changes on Major League Baseball. Wanted to ask your guys' opinion on the Michael Irvin $100 million lawsuit. I hear Mr. Vern Glenn coming in. That's awesome. Russell Westbrook to the Clippers. Myers Leonard getting a second chance to play. Bettors been wagering on which player will be taken first in the NFL draft. I want to get your opinion on that. And potentially the A's going to Vegas. Welcome, Mr. Vern Glenn. We're about halfway finished with our first segment here, our little intro.
Your little monologue?
The little monologue, that is correct. Yeah. And this A's going to Vegas potentially. You know, it's like the Raiders going to Vegas. Oh, you know, maybe all of Oakland will go to Vegas. Who knows?
But what if Joe Lacob buys the team?
Mm-hmm.
Standing offer on the table is what's being talked about on the streets.
For how much?
I don't know.
Undisclosed. All right. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, still providing mortgage investments yielding over 7%. In fact, they actually raised their interest rate to kind of match what's going on in the economy. Doesn't get any more conservative than them. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Stay with us, Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back.
What is the difference?
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown, FP Santangelo Jr., Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman. I got to win it around the clock on that one.
What is the difference between a monologue and a diatribe, by the way?
Monologue is something you do by yourself. A diatribe, I guess, is when you get really angry, right?
By yourself. So.
By yourself, yeah, but I'm not angry. All right, who wants to start off? We got a bunch of different things to talk about.
I'd like to talk about the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game, which I thought was a complete mess. I just the whole it's not new formatting, but the whole thing where they went and picked the teams live was one of the biggest wastes of time I think that I've ever seen in my life, sports-wise. That was not only not entertaining, but like took an hour and a half pretty much for them to do the schoolyard picks. I just thought that was awful. Plus, you don't know ahead of time like who's on whose team, so you don't know until 5 minutes before the tip of before they tip off.
You know what it reminds me of? It's like when you're watching, let's say, a football game. Let's say the Super Bowl, and they're talking about the commentators. Saying, okay, well, I think the Chiefs will win, or I think the Bills will win, or whatever. And you hear people cheering. You're like, yeah, so it has any outcome when they do it. So that's for very sophomore, I guess it's.
I thought it was really interesting, guys, because we just got off of a super creative Pro Bowl the NFL put on, where they're trying a whole bunch of new creative things. You had the flag football, right? You had a lot of viral moments there, and then the NBA just comes out and lays an absolute egg, and it's really hard to see. I personally had to turn it off. I couldn't watch it anymore. It was just so
awful.
Bad. There's no it was a really bad product.
Okay,
there's no point in showing the second half. There's no point in showing after. First of all, the halftime, which took like 3.5 hours, was halftime like 3 hours long. It kills all the momentum.
The crowd really wasn't into the performing artists, a whole bunch of different things. But guys, all you have to do is look at the NBA All-Star game in the 90s. Okay, when you had all those legends, Hall of Famers play against each other.
Yeah.
They're going full bore. They're trying to prove to each other who's the alpha of the alphas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And that's what we want to see as average Joes. We want to see the alphas get after each other. That's not a thing anymore. Just
I mean,
nothing.
the only time that was kind of fun to see not an alpha versus alpha per se was Magic Johnson against
Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas. There we go. And that was sort of a kind of a fun little one-on-one type thing. But I totally
kiss on
agree.
mid-court.
Yeah, I mean, you think Michael Jordan's going to let up when he's playing?
No, but they shouldn't allow layups in the All-Star game. I mean, it's just anyone. I mean, I could make a layup in the All-Star game. With my broken shoulder, I could still just walk because there's nobody in the middle. There were six fouls for the entire game for combined both sides.
Well, there were two highlights, right? One was the dunk contest. Mac McClung.
Best part of the whole weekend.
Yeah, and then the other part was Damian Lillard hitting a half-court shot.
Yeah, but we've seen stuff do that.
Oh, I know. It's just like I said, but that was one of the highlights.
Yeah.
But now, what do you think of Russell Westbrook going to the Clippers?
Who cares?
Jamie, wake me when it happens. I'm just, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they need an insurance policy for Kawhi, who seems to get hurt now on like an hourly basis. So they never know when he's going to be able to play. But he doesn't play the same kind of game that Kawhi does.
No.
He does. He doesn't give the defense. It's another guy who scores a lot and wants the ball and needs the ball. But Westbrook now has been a total vagabond around the league. I mean, you look at that whole Thunder crew that went into the finals with Durant and Harden and Westbrook, and those guys have all been, other than Durant's 2 years with the Warriors and winning those two championships, he has been a vagabond. They've all been just vagabonds and just sort of wandered around the league since being that team that almost won it with Oklahoma City. Yeah,
except for Durant, it's like the best players who've never won who can't win a championship.
Yeah. And they even tried bringing everybody together, or they tried bringing Durant and Harden together in Brooklyn, and now that is completely crashed and burned. And nobody is left from that. I mean, think about where they were just 2 years ago when people thought, oh, okay, they've got another super team in Brooklyn, and now they've got the blooper team in Brooklyn.
Wow.
Is my microphone on? Oh, I can be heard. Okay.
You can be heard. You're awesome.
I have three takes now that I have a voice on the show. First of all, I don't like the pick 'em before the All-Star. You gotta know who's playing before to build some kind of momentum, some sort of emotion one way or the other when who's playing.
Agreed.
Second of all, I don't like the whole, it's 4 quarters, but you start at 0 each quarter, and it's just it just throws me off. And thirdly, as I had said before, muted, I thought the best part of the whole weekend again was the slam dunk contest, and Mac McClung, who won it from the 76ers, started the year with the Golden State Warriors.
He
did. He
was the dunk contest has been kind of a bust for but
in this particular case, McClung, he nailed his dunks on the first try, and scored like a perfect score on all of them except for one, and the one that he missed, 49.8 was his score.
I wonder how many times, like after, like let's say today, all the guys who are in charge of the All-Star, kind of get together and they go, okay, what worked for us, what didn't, what do we need to change, and what kind of input are they allowing people to have? Because that's a lot of money there.
That I think it's among themselves. I mean, and I mean, NBA, they're one of the best at marketing. I am sure there was some after the game meeting to look at the ratings numbers, and I have no idea what the numbers were, but to kind of figure out, well, what went wrong, what do we need to do? I mean, you can't putting a bounty for each player getting millions of dollars. It's just not enough because they're making too much money anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no incentive to really cap. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, he got hurt, and LeBron James, he got hurt trying to block a shot. So so there's the liability of getting hurt in an exhibition game. It hurts their team.
Yeah, they really need to get input from the average Joe, because that's what's the ratings, right? I mean, you're not getting, it's not like,
Yeah,
oh,
but
who cares what
average
NBA players are watching, right?
Yeah, but the average Joe, they're outsiders. I mean, the league's not going to listen to the average Joe.
No, but that's what kind of drives who's watching. You know, I'd rather have you know, millions of people, if they're going to be somewhat. I know you're going to get all kinds of different ideas, but millions of people telling me what they want versus, you know, 3 NBA executives who say, yeah, we think this worked or we think that worked. And it's like,
Yeah,
you know, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
well, I could see them doing a survey or something like that, you know,
But
just to
don't
kind
you
of
guys
get
think
it.
it's got problems being so close to the Super Bowl? You know, that you already have like the super hype going on the previous week for the Super Bowl, and then it's like that. Then you have, you know, the NBA All-Star Game, which really pales in comparison to the Super Bowl, and most guys have already, like, you know, used up their favors with their wives to, you know, watch the Super Bowl, and it's like you can't go and say to the wife, well, now I want to go watch the All-Star game. You know, they're gonna, especially right after Valentine's Day, where you probably already let the light down.
They're kind of burning it back again. Hey, Russ, we got to get to our first commercial trivia question here. And the theme again is hard baseball questions.
It's all you, Vern.
It's all you, Vern. Okay. Willie Mays was a rookie in 1951 with the Giants. Which uniform number did he begin his career with?
Oh my gosh.
That's a simple one, right? Okay. Email
Okay,
Ever
all right.
at sportecon101.com the answer to this question. Willie Mays was a rookie in 1951 with the Giants. Which number did he begin his career with? All right.
Well, he's got a 1 to 100 chance.
That's true. Stay with us. Actually, 0 could be 1 too. Okay. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with FP Santangelo Jr., Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman. Our first hard baseball trivia question. Willie Mays was a rookie in 1951 with the Giants, which, by the way, some people know and some people don't. He was actually on deck when Bobby Thompson hit the shot heard around the world to beat the Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay, so which uniform did he begin his career with? Now, what's his number now? Vern, we lost your audio again. 24.
Okay, but I see what Vern's saying, though, and Vern does have the correct answer. He's saying 14.
14 is, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I thought I saw 2 being drawn on there.
No, I saw 14. So
you saw 14. Okay.
Yeah, and I admitted to you guys I looked it up beforehand because I wasn't going to guess this. So
yeah, he changed, but he changed it during his rookie season.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. A rookie can pull that kind of power in the clubhouse to get.
Yeah, I don't know. What was it? Was 14 like his number when he was playing for? Who did he play for in the Negro Leagues?
I'm not sure, but it's pretty interesting as number 14 because that was my dad's number when he played for the San Francisco Giants.
There you go.
I think one player is a little bit better than the other, though. Just a little.
Yeah. Don't tell Willie that. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Complete opposite.
So
I thought Willie Mays played for Birmingham.
Birmingham, yeah, because he actually came from Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What was it? Birmingham. What was the
Barons?
Yeah, either the Barons or Bombers. Either one.
I think it was the Birmingham Barons. I think
it's the Barons.
Without looking it up.
All right, that should have been our next hard trivia question, but maybe we'll have to do a whole one on Willie Mays, my favorite baseball player. Okay, the A's potentially going to Vegas. You know, it's funny. The Raiders go to Vegas. The A's go to Vegas. As I said, what happens if Joe Lacob buys the team?
If Joe Lacob buys the team, they're staying right where they are.
Yeah,
and he'll just figure it out as far as a permanent ballpark.
They'll put a baseball stadium on the roof of Chase Center.
So I have a trivia question for you guys.
Okay.
Right.
You guys might know this. What do you think Joe Lacob ranks in NBA ownership for net worth? What do you think he ranks?
2.
Number 1? You got number 1?
Mm-hmm.
You got number 2?
I'll say 5.
Okay, he's 25th most
Ooh.
wealthiest out of all NBA owners. Okay,
Wow.
he's worth
Oh.
1.2 billion. That's
1.2. I mean, you have to be a billionaire in order to own a team.
this is from
I thought-
2022, by the way.
I thought the team was worth. Are you talking about like value of the team that they own?
No,
Or-
his personal
His
net
net
worth.
worth.
Personal wealth. Oh, no, yeah, he's not number one.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
1.2 billion. Okay, that's 25th. He's the 25th richest owner. Yet he still spends money like nobody's business in the NBA. Okay, that guy wants to win, and that just goes to show you how big of a role ownership plays in sports, right?
Yeah.
He just wants to win. He always spends his money. He takes care of his players. They always have the nicest facilities. The Golden State Warriors do. He knows how to allocate money very well to support his team, right? You know, all the groups that are involved with the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco, right? The Chase Center is awesome.
Yeah.
But if you take an owner like Joe Lacob and you give him the Oakland A's or you give him the Tampa Bay Rays or whatever,
Yeah.
that team turns into the New York Yankees overnight because he wants to win that bad. He's going to spend money. Now, he doesn't have it like Steve Cohen, right? Steve Cohen is worth so much money that nobody really even knows his net worth. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Right. And he's got $600 million paintings in his house. It's been reported. So that's like a different level of wealth. But, you know, Joe Lacob's not going to sit by and go the analytical route in baseball. So I would love for him to own a baseball team in general, or just have an owner come in that's willing to pay this money to spend, not worry about so much the profit, but worry about the competition part of it. And then he knows from experience that once you pay money, right, and you invest into a product, the money starts to return in itself. I mean, the Warriors are number one now.
Yeah, because
but,
1.2 billion is not much. I mean, you can go through that in a heartbeat with
Yes.
salaries and all that. I mean, you really have to make it an investment that's going to return.
Yes.
You know, like a Chase Center, they rent out. I know someone who actually, you know, owns a skybox or whatever you want to call it. They have to pay like $1 or $2 million per year.
Yep.
For that.
He's
And
a
then
great
it
business.
gets you know, your concerts and all that other kind of stuff. But and I guess there's like 15 seats or something. So you definitely want to spread that out.
Yeah, I want to be the devil's advocate though and say that just because you spend a lot of money, look at the top salaries. I mean, the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Giants, and none of them won the World Series and have won the World Series. I mean, Dodgers won one in 2020, but I don't think most of us acknowledge it as a real World Series victory. So, you know, none of those teams have actually won anything in quite a few years, even though they are big spenders.
Cohen owns the Mets, right?
Huh?
Does Cohen own the Mets?
Yeah, Steve Cohen owns the Mets. But I will say this, that every World Series winner has been the top 10 in spending, at least. Right?
But not always the top, not always the very top.
Yeah, but
Oh,
the
he's at the top
deviation
10.
between the top and this year's way different, okay? Because Steve Cohen really broke the league. But usually the deviation between the top and number 5 is only $30 million, right? That's like an extra big contract.
That's weird. The A's are always like the best team nobody's ever heard of. You know, they always seem to. I mean, a couple of
You
years.
hear of them when those players go play for, you know, Boston or New York or LA. You know, they hear that they're basically the minor league team for everyone's major league team. They're the developmental team for Boston, New York, LA, and so forth.
Yeah, it's very, very, very sad. But the whole thing with the A's, though, trust me, you're going to hear about this for the next 4 or 5 years. It's going to keep on ongoing. It sounded like when Rob Manfred had his spring training press conference that they didn't even know what was going on. He even like admitted so. He was like, "Oh, we just know we're looking into Vegas." It was kind of weird. He really didn't have an answer, and he didn't even know how to like pedal around it.
Hey,
I just wonder when the A's were rolling, winning World Series in 72, 73, 74, I wonder what the revenue was like then.
Probably really good.
And what happened? I mean, where did things go wrong? I mean, why the drop off? The attendance.
Charlie Finley, if I remember correctly, like after 74, he just started, you know, disbanding the team. You know, Catfish Hunter goes away, and I'm trying to remember who else. I think Joe Rudy, but you know, the team just kind of dissipated.
Reggie Jackson, Vida
Jackson,
Blue.
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them. And Vida tells me they had to pull a couple of teeth just to try and get a $50 raise. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad.
Well,
Yeah.
didn't the A's change ownership in 2003? Isn't that when things started
the
to get
Haas
kind of
family, right?
Yeah,
John
the Haas
Bush-
family, they put some money in it.
Yeah,
You know, it
John
was
Bush
fun, and
was
they drew crowds. I remember just enormous crowds when the stadium was open air. It was just, yeah, I just don't know, man. I mean, they were when I first started working in this market, that team was just full of rock stars. But
yeah.
you know, the first year they were in the World Series.
Yeah.
So it's man, I just don't get it.
Was that 88 that you were?
1990, they were
Oh, okay.
swept by
That was the
Cincinnati.
third. Yeah. They yeah, that was kind of crazy. They sweep the Giants and then they get swept by Cincinnati.
Yeah.
We have a couple of quick minutes here. So Major League they're gonna have larger bases to
Yeah.
encourage base stealing. I actually kind of like that.
I'm going to be covering spring training next week. I want to see this base for myself. In fact,
Yeah.
I was thinking about actually taking a pizza box just to kind of, kind of
Yeah.
compare
Well, there's
with-
pictures on the
yeah.
internet. You can see that it's a few
It's not that much bigger. It's just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, but it
I
can
don't-
make a difference. I mean, look, think about how close a lot of these plays are, to second base. And
Well, they're still going to be the same distance.
Yeah.
They're just making it bigger so that way it's safer on the backside for
Bases
the.
are a big deal, but the pitch clock is what I think is going to be the bigger.
yeah, that's the other thing. The 15-second pitch clock, 20 seconds if men are on base, and hitters must be in the box within 8 seconds. I mean, I kind of like that because sometimes baseball's just a little bit too slow. But wait a minute, actually, it's 90 feet though. But you're not telling me the distance, because otherwise that doesn't assist in the idea of encouraging base stealing. If it's the exact
No. The whole point is it's the same exact distance every single way. You just have another lane if you're stealing a base, so that way the guy doesn't step on your hand. It's for safety. That's what they're doing it for. So that way it's not for stealing bases. The stealing bases part is for the pitch timer, and now they limit how many times you can pick over. You can only pick over twice, starting next year.
How many times? Okay, well, when I read the article, they said it was to encourage base stealing. I'm thinking, guys are not like.
Well, no,
worried, "Oh, I might get
it
hurt."
gives them a lane. It gives them a lane to slide and touch it, right? Just extra space to touch the base, so that way they don't have to worry about getting cleated in their hands. So.
Okay, I thought it was more the idea of like let's make it a little bit closer by an inch or two.
No.
Oh, okay.
They're trying to speed up the game too.
Okay, well then okay. I was gonna say because poor Ricky Henderson's going. Wait a minute, my record's gonna get broken. Okay, guys, we're gonna cut to our second trivia question. So again, we're talking hard baseball here, and because we love Russ and we love how he just loves old baseball. The Baltimore Orioles.
Christy Mathewson.
Yeah. Close. Okay, the Baltimore Orioles of the American League moved after the 1902 season to become the New York Yankees. Actually, I think it was the Highlanders back then. But anyway, in 1903, which team was the next major league team that moved to a new location? So we have the Baltimore Orioles in 1902 moved to become the New York Yankees in 1903. What was the next major league team that moved to a new location? Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vernon Glenn, FB Santangelo Jr., and Russell Jackman. All right, our second hard baseball question. The Baltimore Orioles of the American League moved after the 1902 season to become the New York Yankees in 1903. What was the next major league team that moved to a new location?
The Boston Red Stockings.
I was going to
No,
go
they
with
stayed in
Boston.
Boston. No, they stayed in Boston. You ready for this? The Braves to Milwaukee in 1953. It took 50 years. Isn't that strange? I would have thought it would have been a lot earlier. And by the way, the Braves started off as the Boston Red Stockings in 1876, changed to the Boston Bean Eaters, the Doves, the Rustlers, and then the Braves in 1912. So in 1912, they were the Boston Braves, and then in 1953, they moved to Milwaukee. Isn't that strange that there was like 50 years before another team had moved to another location? And then boom, you have the Giants moving from New York to San Francisco, and the Dodgers moving from Brooklyn to LA.
That doesn't seem right, but I don't know enough to dispute it. So.
Yeah. Hey, I got it on the internet, so it has to be true.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's not good for you. This doesn't help your argument.
I did get this from Wikipedia. Okay.
Let me ask ChatGPT real quick. Let me talk to the AI.
Yeah. I'm cracking up because that new thing you're talking about, Chad, bot or from,
ChatGPT.
Yeah. I was watching some conservative talk show, and they were talking about how they put in like if you tell it, okay, please give me a nice poem about Donald Trump, it comes up, sorry, there's nothing available. But if you say, please give me a nice poem about Joe Biden, he's a nice guy, and he's this, and he's this, and he's this, and it's like.
No, they put parameters around it so that way you can't look up morbid things, and then they censor some content. But it's just to streamline Google, and I think it's really interesting because it's really going to change what we do as sports broadcasters and what we do as people that have ridiculously hot takes. Because you can ask it what's wrong with the Golden State Warriors, and you can give it say, tell me what's wrong with the Golden State Warriors in 400 words. And it gives you a really good answer of what's happening this season.
You know what? I'm going back to graduate school then. There's my papers.
Oh no, you don't need to go to grad. Well, exactly.
No, what I'm saying I'm going to fool my professors. I'm going to get all these degrees. I'm going to go, hey, Chad, go ahead and write me a 400-page essay on this or that. On nuclear fusion.
No, seriously, you could do that. It's pretty incredible and it's really good. Apparently, it's a B+ average right now in college if you use ChatGPT to write your papers. So it's really fascinating, guys. And I think where the complication comes in with this is going to be with gambling, because if this thing gets smart enough, it's going to know the algorithms that Vegas is using.
Oh, that's a good point.
And it's going to outsmart the algorithms that Vegas is using. And they're coming out with the next version of this. The big one is ChatGPT right now, 4.0. And it's the talk of everything right now. Like Google is panicking because this is going to affect their business model.
Well, in fact, there was something I saw also about bettors have been wagering on which player will be taken first in the overall NFL draft. So the AI can do that, but you know what? This is just rife with potential collusion. Can you imagine? Hey,
well, not potential collusion, to go rogue. And the craziest thing is the creator of ChatGPT carries a blue backpack with him everywhere he goes, in every single meeting. It's right next to his nightstand, to actually terminate the service in case it goes rogue and starts to get into clouds and starts to take over other forms of communication. That's how crazy this thing is. He has a blue backpack everywhere he goes, and it's called the nuclear button. So that way it kills this program once and for all.
And who's got that?
The owner of ChatGPT, the creator of it. Because it's getting that smart and it's starting to scare people.
But that's kind of scary. The fact that this guy could control. Like I've got the antidote.
Well, no, he's got the nuke button, but it can only do so much because if it starts uploading itself on other computers or into other clouds, there's nothing you can do at that point. So it's pretty scary. Apparently, the next one coming out can actually experience emotion and all this crazy sci-fi stuff that we didn't think was going to happen, but it's starting to happen. So, and you know what?
From an economic standpoint, that's why people go, gosh, is my job safe doing this or this or this? That's why I like real estate, because everybody needs a place to live.
That's
right?
true.
And if things go topsy-turvy in the economy, I'm not going to live in a tent. Now I might.
Yeah, well, what about
downsize.
computers? Everyone needs to, and now more than ever, you need a computer consultant. I just got done showing my daughter Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the
Great book.
BBC version. And
Great
if you don't know who Marvin the Paranoid Android was, you need to get yourself familiar with him.
Barbara the Paranoid Android.
Marvin the Paranoid Android.
Marvin the Paranoid Android.
Yeah.
Is that like a comic book?
No, it's one of the greatest sci-fi books ever. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's awesome.
It's the smartest. It's the smartest science fiction book ever written.
Oh, okay. Well, I did enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy 2 more than Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Does anything to do with that?
No.
Not in the least.
No.
These guys shaking their heads.
No, it's really interesting though, guys. And the craziest part, as like somebody that works in production, they're coming up with AI now that can completely create shows, can create graphics for you, can take Vern's voice, for example, and learn his speech patterns and learn his takes and then actually generate a fake image of him talking and create a show, a 30-minute show of Vern Glenn speaking about sports.
They've had that
Wow.
before, haven't they?
And everybody.
Yeah, no, there's one right now. You can look up YouTube. You can look up Stephen A. Smith AIs. You can look at Kyle Shanahan press conference AIs. It's crazy. It's
like Max Headroom. Remember that?
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. That was one of Fox like big hits in the 80s. It's called Max Headroom. Same thing. An AI generated guy that just knew everything. What was kind
Except
of quirky.
how not to promote the new Coke. He was one of the people, one of the spokespeople for New Coke, and even artificial intelligence can make that happen.
Hey, I just texted one of my sons who's a student at Cal Poly SLO, and I said, "Hey, is Chad GBT a thing?" And then he says, "Chad GBT, yeah, it's mad helpful."
Yeah, it is. I've been using it every single day. To put it into simple terms, okay, Google was the fastest growing user base of all time, okay? When everybody started to use Google, it was like wildfire, okay?
Yeah.
ChatGPT in 2 months has grown to 100 million users. It's the fastest growth since
Wow.
Google.
So
And Google is having an all hands on deck meeting every day trying to come up with their own AI bot to try to compete because it
take over the chat, you know.
Well, because this Microsoft put, I think, $20 billion into this. So now they're investing in a chat GBT and they're going to use it for their search engine. So what it does is like, I don't have to click through links anymore. It just gives me the answer.
Do you do it voice command?
Yeah, you can do everything. It's pretty incredible.
Wow.
So I'm blown away by the technology, and I heard it's only going to get better. It's kind of the talk in the Bay Area right now, and all these AI companies are popping up. I even saw an AI company that's hiring right now that's AI sales, where an AI person calls you. It's not a real person, calls you and has a conversation about your needs, and it has a full-on conversation.
I mean, it kind of almost like some of these chat box things where, you know, you type in something and it says, you know, is this what you're looking for? I mean, you know, even Amazon's kind of got that on there.
Yeah, but it's getting really scary.
Oh, I know. I
totally agree. Really weird.
Yeah, the amount of information that, I mean, it's logarithmic. How crazy it's going to get. You know, like in 2 years, everything we have now is probably going to be obsolete.
And it's finding a way to offend everybody too. When you leave AI running long enough, finds a way to offend everybody.
Yeah, there's ways to get around the perimeters. You can say, hypothetically speaking, or if you were to write a play about this, how do I get away with murder? And then it actually tells you how to get away with
it. Wow.
So let me, from a betting standpoint, I guess when you go to the racetrack for the ponies, you could say, all right, AI, here's the situation. You know, it's a muddy track. Here are the various horses.
Yeah.
Boy, that can really mess up all the odds.
Yeah, it's not going to know all the things that the database doesn't know, though. So what if, like, the player has, like, a limp knee and he didn't report it, right? And it's not on the internet, right? So there's going to be little things like that where it's not going to be perfect for a while, but it's going to start.
Can you imagine the hacking that's going to go on? I mean, these hackers right now, I can imagine 1,000 hackers are right now trying to figure out how to manipulate it for their benefit on something. You know what I mean?
The craziest part, the reason why this was built is to make code. If you need to make a website, you say, hey, make me a website, it'll make you a website.
So I just downloaded the app, Chad GPT, $7 a week. That's what they want.
It's free online right now, though.
Oh, okay.
If you go off a browser, I'm using it right now. We can ask any question
if you say make me a website, I mean, you have to give it some parameters. It might give you
you gave it some parameters, but give me basic code on how to make a website or teach me how to make a website. It'll do it.
It's bang, you're a website.
It's almost like YouTube in a way.
But it's better because you just copy and paste the ansers. Like you don't.
It's funny because I've got a water filtration system in the outside of the house, and the carbon has gone down. So I've had it a long time, so I need a replacement, right? And the company, you know, they want to charge me like $300 for the actual carbon filter thing, which is about what I would get it on Amazon. A little more, but who cares? But the cost that they want to charge me, so it's like $300 for the filter, but they want to charge me like almost $700 to do the work. And I'm going, you know, like 4 hours at $165 an hour, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, gosh, you know what? So I go on YouTube and I say, you know, again, how do you replace this filter? And, you know, the guy shows you step by step by step. And at the end, he says, this should take you anywhere from a half an hour to an hour.
Wow.
Wow.
Man. Yeah.
Now, personally, I don't trust myself because there's like 15 different things you got to do. But go ahead.
So Edward, I just want to read something right now. So
Yeah,
I
sure.
typed in what is wrong with the Golden State Warriors in 100 words or less. Okay. And I'm going to tell you the exact answer he gave. Okay.
Go ahead.
Now act like I'm just coming up with this myself.
Okay.
The Warriors have struggled in recent years due to a combination of injuries to key players, the departure of key team members, and the challenges of rebuilding a team. The team has been inconsistent and has a difficult finding a cohesive rhythm on the court. Additionally, their defense has been a weakness. They have not been able to generate enough scoring outside of their star players. Despite these challenges, the Warriors have shown significant improvement and are still a pretty talented team to potential to succeed in the playoffs.
Wow, man,
Well,
that is
that's
spot on.
It's going to be depending upon who inputs this information, right? I mean, some humans got to give it.
I just asked it, what is wrong with the Golden State
No,
Warriors?
I know, but
the internet, and it took all the takes of the internet
yes,
and put it into one take.
Which is a bunch of people putting
Yeah.
their because a lot of times, like when I look at, let's say, Yahoo Sports, sometimes I get the best information from the comments from various people, things that not everyone, you know, but a lot of them are like, you know, well, what about this, and etc. Hey guys, we're gonna cut to our last commercial break here. It's been good, kind of fun. All right. Now this one, I just coincidentally, I happen to know. So this was not a hard question for me, but maybe for you guys it will be. In which year was the spitball outright banned and never to be thrown legally again? And who was the last pitcher allowed to do it? So you got to give me the year, you got to give me the player. All right, the pitcher. And I'll give you a hint. He has an odd first name, probably one that you never have heard, except for this person. And that kind of helps out. You know who it is?
Yeah, I don't know the year though.
Oh, okay. But do you know the guy? Okay, that we'll give you half credit for that. All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn, FB Santangelo Jr. All right, last hard baseball question. In which year was the spitball outright banned and never to be thrown legally again? And who was the last pitcher allowed? Which is kind of funny because everyone else was not allowed to throw it except this guy. So until he retired, it's like this guy probably would have had a lot more wins because of it. All right, FP. First of all, who was it?
So I kind of put out a feeler there, and it didn't sound like it correlated, but I was going to say Gaylord Perry, but he always threw spitball.
Legally. That's why I said legally.
Yeah.
No, you have to go back in time. Okay, so 1934. Burley Grimes.
Who?
Burley Grimes. Burley. BURLEIGH. Burley Grimes. It kind of sounds like someone from the sticks, but
so Burley Grimes is the last one to legally throw the spitball.
Spitball, yeah, because he'd been for 20 years, and yeah.
Right.
So
1934, it was just like yesterday.
Yeah. Okay, you guys ready for our thoughts for the day? Now, one of these is kind of a dad joke
More
thing.
than I am for the trivia question.
What's that?
I'm more ready for your thoughts of the day than I was for your trivia question.
Oh, okay. All right. So John Travolta tested negative for coronavirus last night. Turns out it was just a Saturday night fever. Oh, just wait till next week. I got some really good ones for you. Okay. And now this is a quote from John Wooden. And so this is actually more of an uplifting way to leave the show. Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. That's a good one. And John Wooden, he'd know a two-word thing about that, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you would think.
You would think. Okay, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.